10 years ago, Sarah and I wanted to do a podcast, and we started and we did a few episodes, but then we stopped. What are your thoughts about this, Sarah?
Hey, that's
That's
not
fine.
fair.
That's fine. What are your thoughts about this, Sarah?
Um, I don't like it. I don't like that. That's very unfair. You've just gone, you do my video.
No, but I just wanted to.
I need more. I need like a. So Sarah, why don't you tell us a bit about what the channel was about? Or you can't just say, what do you think about this?
Well, I mean,
No,
okay, you don't like that.
that's not fair. That's not fair. I've
Okay.
come to answer questions and to talk
No,
tell my
no,
point
this
of view.
is for a conversation.
No,
This is
that's not a conversation. You don't start a conversation with, what do you think about this? That's way too broad. No.
Okay.
You can just leave that in.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good, actually.
Do you want to just leave
Yeah,
that?
yeah. Let's just leave that
I
in.
mean, maybe this is...
No, I think this is
maybe
great.
this is actually a sign of what happened last time.
I think this is actually a great point because
Okay.
that was the thing that we were struggling with when we were doing the first podcast. And see, like we wanted to say, oh, we're so clever now. But really, like, there's a tendency that we can have of perfectionism and wanting everything perfect. What we realized was to do a podcast, you need to let go a little bit. Actually,
stuff.
so the explanation of the perfectionism, so now we're at this point. Now this is a little more deep in the MBTI theory. But for ENFP, ENTP, we have a similarity, which is that our inferior cognitive functions, so in the MBTI, you have different cognitive functions, which are supposedly how your brain functions. So the way that we need to function, but we don't like to function, is to focus on the details.
Right.
That's called introverted sensing. And that's our so-called inferior function. It's also called the 3-year-old function. So it means that we have the maturity of a 3-year-old when it comes
Right.
to like details and like practical stuff, etc.
Right.
So we're actually not very good at it.
Is that why we're bad at scripted stuff?
Yes, exactly.
Right, so going back, tying everything
Yeah.
together in a
Yeah.
lovely bow.
Yeah.
At the beginning of this video, you saw us having an argument about a
Right.
scripted section.
Yes.
Is that precisely
Well, it's
this?
exactly this.
Okay.
Because like we want to like improvise. Essentially,
Right.
we want
Right.
to improvise.
But we couldn't get to the improvising bit without first kind of being like, oh, hi everyone, welcome to the video. But then
Yes.
like we can't ever get
Yes.
past.
Yeah. No, I was just thinking,
Yeah.
you know, like because we can blend MBTI with Schema Therapy. And so actually perfectionistic overcompensator is called a coping mode.
Right.
In a schema coping mode in Schema Therapy. Actually, it's one way that you're dealing with an unpleasant situation, but in a kind of like unhealthy way.
Right.
It's a fight response. So perfectionistic overcompensator is when you're like essentially like you're in a dangerous situation and there's a tiger or something like that.
Okay.
In our case, it was just like reading a few lines.
Right,
Okay. Well, you know, progress. You know, we're not the same as we were like 1,000 years ago, but our brain is still the same. So when we're stuck, you know, with this kind of a thing, and we think we're not quite equipped to do it.
Right. Yeah, we're like, oh, we're not doing very well at this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so what we do when we're doing these things badly is we double down. And so we fight, i.e., like we pour more and more and more energy.
Right.
And because we both have this process, which is quite incredible, it means that no one was there to like balance it. You know, we were both overusing the 3-year-old that was like fighting a tiger.
Yeah.
You know, and that was getting more and more
And
worked up.
actually,